Why is it that every time someone tells you, just think positive, it burns instead of heals? Why does chasing happiness often tear open wounds rather than closing them? Marcus Aurelius warned us centuries ago, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Yet we've twisted his wisdom into hollow affirmations and forced smiles. Here's the uncomfortable Stoic truth. Your mind isn't built for comfort. It's designed for survival, wired to amplify fears and replay anxieties until you're trapped in a cycle of pain you've unknowingly constructed. But what if real strength isn't about pretending you're fine, but about courageously confronting the shadows you've spent your whole life running from? Today, I'm going to share with you the powerful Stoic insight that challenges every shallow notion of positivity you've ever been sold. And once you truly grasp it, you'll never see yourself or your struggles the same way again. Understanding the power of your mind. Your thoughts aren't innocent whispers that float around and vanish. They're powerful architects shaping the reality you live in, moment by moment. It's strange, isn't it, how we sometimes dismiss our inner voice as harmless chatter, never realizing that it sets the boundaries of our potential. The ancient Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Think about that. Your life's happiness and success begin not in external circumstances, but in how you frame them within your mind. Imagine waking up certain that your day is doomed. You've already mentally rehearsed defeat before your day has even begun, setting yourself up for failure. You're living out a story written by your fears and anxieties, not your true capability. The problem is, most of us rarely stop to question these internal narratives. We assume our perceptions are objective reality, never realizing they're heavily influenced by our mindset. Carl Jung once remarked, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." How often have you blamed circumstances, fate, for something that your own mind quietly engineered? Your thoughts aren't passive, they're actively creating your reality. But here's the exciting part. If your thoughts hold such enormous power, doesn't that also mean you have the power to change your life entirely? What if, instead of waking up resigned to a mediocre day, you consciously chose to rewrite your internal script? What if you started each morning by telling yourself that no matter what happens, you have the strength, resilience, and clarity to handle it? Seneca, another wise Stoic, said it clearly. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. How many of your worries and defeats exist only in your mind, shadows you've painted onto your own walls? By acknowledging the power your mind holds, you can reclaim control over your story, rewriting it into one of purpose and strength. Consider this carefully. Your mind is not a random event generator. It's a garden that you can actively cultivate. Left untended, weeds of doubt and negativity inevitably take over. But if you plant seeds of courage, optimism, and determination, those are the flowers that bloom. Modern psychology backs this up with the idea of cognitive reframing, changing the way you view challenges and setbacks from threats to opportunities. This isn't blind positivity, it's deliberate empowerment. It's the Stoic practice of seeing obstacles not as barriers, but as stepping stones toward growth. So next time you catch yourself spiraling into negativity, pause. Recognize your thoughts for what they truly are: choices. Epictetus wisely said, "People are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." Life isn't happening to you. You're actively interpreting life. Choose interpretations that strengthen you, that inspire action rather than paralysis. Once you fully grasp the incredible potential your mind holds, you realize the power was never out there. It was always inside you, waiting for you to acknowledge and harness it. Your thoughts shape your reality, so shape them carefully, intentionally, and bravely. Flipping the script, your mindset matters. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to glide effortlessly through life's challenges, while others constantly struggle, stuck in loops of worry and negativity? The difference isn't luck or talent, it's how they've trained their minds. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, understood this deeply when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your mindset isn't just some fluffy motivational concept. It's the control center of your entire life. Picture waking up tomorrow morning, not groggy, not dreading the endless to-do lists, but feeling genuinely confident, ready to handle whatever life throws at you. Imagine saying to yourself, "Today? Yeah, I've got this. I'm not just surviving today. I'm gonna thrive." Sure, at first it feels a bit awkward, maybe even forced. But let me tell you something powerful. Every great achievement in history started as an idea in someone's mind. They visualized success vividly, believed it was possible, and then aligned their actions to bring it into reality. Henry Ford put it best when he said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." Now, don't get me wrong, adopting a positive mindset isn't about deluding yourself into believing life will always be smooth sailing. It's about reshaping how you respond when storms inevitably arise. The Stoics embraced difficulties as essential teachers, not obstacles. Epictetus once said, "The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it." Think about every person you admire, those who seem to conquer their dreams with ease. They've all faced setbacks, disappointments, and failures, often repeatedly. Yet their secret wasn't avoiding these hardships. It was deciding firmly never to stay down. They learned, adapted, and came back stronger each time. Carl Jung also highlighted this internal battle, saying, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Your circumstances don't define you. Your mindset does. Instead of seeing yourself as a passive victim of life's randomness, start viewing yourself as an active architect, someone who can choose how to interpret and respond to events. Flipping the script isn't just a catchphrase, it's a deliberate choice, an empowering decision to rewrite the narrative you live by each day. And here's the remarkable thing about flipping your mindset. It's contagious. Once you start believing you're capable, your actions follow suit. Your energy shifts. People around you notice and respond differently. Opportunities start to open, and life itself begins to align more closely with your positive outlook. It's almost magical, yet entirely logical, because your inner world inevitably shapes your outer reality. Seneca, another wise Stoic, famously stated, "It's not because things are difficult that we dare not venture. It's because we dare not venture that they are difficult." The moment you choose confidence over doubt, courage over fear, you unlock a potential you didn't even know was there. Your mindset becomes the catalyst, turning ideas into achievements, dreams into realities. So tomorrow morning, when your feet hit the floor, remind yourself, you've got this. No matter what happens, you're not just going to face the day, you're going to own it. Your choice. Feed your fear or feed your confidence. Every single morning, you're standing at a crossroads. It might not always feel obvious, but it's there. It's that split-second decision between leaning into fear or stepping boldly toward confidence. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And it's true. Our fears often exist solely in our minds, vivid yet imaginary barriers keeping us from achieving what we're truly capable of. It's easy to feed these fears, giving them strength, allowing them to take root. But imagine for a moment, What would your life look like if you starved those doubts and instead nurtured your courage? Let's get real for a second. Life isn't going to magically become easy. Negativity will always find its way to your doorstep, knocking persistently, hoping you'll answer. It whispers familiar refrains like, "You're not ready," or "This is too hard." But here's the powerful part. You don't have to listen. You can interrupt that voice mid-sentence. Challenge it right there and then. Instead of saying, "I can't handle this," flip it. Say to yourself with conviction, "I've faced worse and came through stronger. I can handle this too." It's simple, but don't underestimate the power of reframing your thoughts. Your mind listens closely to what you tell it repeatedly. Carl Jung highlighted the incredible impact of our mindset, stating, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Each thought you feed shapes the person you are becoming. Think of your confidence as a muscle. Every positive, empowering thought strengthens it. Every time you consciously replace fear with belief, doubt with determination, you're literally training your brain. You're creating new pathways that lead toward resilience rather than defeat. Over time, these pathways become your default, your automatic response. Suddenly, what once felt intimidating becomes manageable, even exciting. But let's be honest, making this shift isn't effortless. It requires intention and consistency. Marcus Aurelius understood this clearly when he wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Each day offers you countless opportunities to reaffirm your confidence. It starts small, maybe just speaking up during a meeting, taking on a project you've been avoiding, or having that difficult conversation you've postponed too long. Each tiny victory stacks up, building your internal reservoir of courage, reinforcing your belief that you're stronger than any obstacle you face. The Stoics had another powerful insight. Our emotional reactions are within our control, even when external circumstances aren't. Epictetus taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Every event, every challenge, every setback can either feed your fears or feed your strength. You choose. Do you dwell on what could go wrong, surrendering your power to anxiety and doubt? Or do you decide, deliberately and firmly, to focus on your capabilities, your past successes, your proven resilience? Your mental diet determines your destiny. Your mind is a muscle. Train it daily. Most people spend hours a week working on their bodies, lifting weights, running miles, counting calories. But when was the last time you trained your mind with the same discipline? Strange how we value six-pack abs more than mental clarity, resilience, or peace. Yet your mind is the one muscle that controls everything else. If it's weak, the strongest body or the most perfect life situation won't matter. Marcus Aurelius, in the middle of leading an empire, still wrote to himself, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." What you're thinking, consistently, is shaping who you become. Here's something practical. Before you dive into the chaos of the day, before the noise, the emails, the doom scrolling, pause just 1 minute. Look at yourself in the mirror and say something positive. Not performative nonsense, but something rooted in intention. I am enough. I've got what it takes. I don't have to prove anything to anyone today. Sounds silly, sure, especially if you're not used to talking to yourself with kindness. But the awkwardness is temporary. The strength you build from it, permanent. Carl Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." So if you want confidence, don't just wish for it, build it. Repetition is key. Just like hitting the gym, your thoughts need reps. Positive, deliberate ones. Every time you practice gratitude instead of frustration, every time you pause and reframe a challenge instead of reacting blindly, you are conditioning your mind. Those moments stack. They accumulate. Over time, your default reactions change. You go from spiraling to solving, from doubting to deciding. And don't expect perfection. Some days you'll miss the mark. That's okay. The Stoics never aimed to eliminate emotion. They aimed to manage it. Epictetus reminded us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That mastery doesn't come from avoiding difficulty. It comes from returning to your training, especially when things feel off. It's in those moments, when your emotions spike, when fear creeps in, that your mental reps pay off. The training kicks in. You breathe. You choose response over reaction, power over panic. You can start small. 10 deep breaths in the morning. A journal line that says, "Here's what I'm grateful for." A quiet affirmation before a hard meeting. You're not building a fantasy mindset, you're building mental toughness. And just like the body, it's the daily consistency that shapes you, not the rare moments of motivation. Seneca said it best. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Mental training is your preparation. When life throws something unexpected, and it will, you won't fold. You'll face it with a kind of calm that surprises even you, not because the storm disappeared, but because you've been training for it all along. Train your mind like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Taking action. Turn belief into results. You ever notice how belief feels powerful until it's time to actually move? That's the gap where most people get stuck. They dream big, they journal intentions, they even talk about their goals with passion, but they don't take that uncomfortable first step. And that step, that's where the real transformation begins. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, stop talking, start doing. And here's the truth: action kills fear. Every time you do the thing you were afraid of, even just a little bit, that fear loses its grip. It's not magic, it's exposure. The Stoics taught this through the principle of voluntary discomfort. Practice facing discomfort so that when it really shows up, you're already familiar with it. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Simple, not easy. You don't need a 10-step master plan to get started. You need a decision, one small, imperfect action that aligns with your values and your vision. That's how momentum builds. One push, one call, one email, one attempt. Suddenly, you're not standing still anymore. Suddenly, belief isn't just in your head, it's in your hands. So yes, keep visualizing, keep affirming, but more importantly, move. Let your belief breathe through your actions. Let it live in the choices you make every single day. Because when you start acting like the person you want to become, something shifts. You stop waiting for permission. You stop being a prisoner of your own doubt. And without even realizing it, you become the proof that belief, backed by action, changes everything. Breaking the chains. Stop waiting, start doing. Let's be honest. How many things in your life are still on pause because you're waiting for it to feel right? That magical moment when motivation hits, when clarity appears, when all the stars align. The truth? That moment doesn't exist. And if it does, it rarely shows up when you need it most. Seneca said it best. While we wait for life, life passes. You're not stuck because you lack potential. You're stuck because you keep waiting. Perfection is a lie that fear tells you. It says, wait until you're ready. Wait until you're more confident. Wait until the timing is better. But life doesn't reward delay. It rewards direction. Even a shaky first step is better than standing still. Carl Jung once wrote, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parents." But that weight doesn't vanish just because you're grown. It lingers every time you silence your own voice, every time you hesitate instead of build. You're not just putting off a task, you're postponing a version of yourself that's ready to evolve. Momentum is magic. It doesn't demand certainty, it just needs a spark. And once you start moving, your mind catches up. What once felt overwhelming starts to shrink. You build confidence not from thinking, you build it by doing. And then doing again. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself often, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That thing you've been avoiding? That's your starting line. So stop handing fear the mic. Stop giving your excuses the final word. You don't need another plan. You don't need more time. You need to act right now, even if it's small, especially if it's small. That message you've been meaning to send, send it. That idea you've been sitting on, draft it. That change you've been imagining, begin it. Today is the only thing that's real, not the someday you keep fantasizing about. And every time you act, you chip away at the chains holding you back. Fear loses power. Doubt gets quieter. You get stronger. You don't need permission. You already have the key. Now use it. Rethinking failure. Embrace the lessons. There's something strange about how we treat failure, like it's contagious, like brushing up against it will infect everything we touch with shame. But failure isn't this lurking monster. It's a mirror. And if you've got the courage to look into it, really look, it'll show you exactly where you need to grow. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Most people don't fear failure, they fear what they think it means about them. Think back to when you were a kid. Learning to ride a bike wasn't a smooth process. You tipped over, skinned your knees, maybe even cried, but you got back on. Why? Because failure wasn't final, it was expected. You didn't take it personally, you saw it as part of the deal. Somewhere along the way, that mindset vanished. Now we see failure as evidence that we're broken, incapable, unworthy. But it's none of those things. It's feedback. It's life's way of saying, try a different approach. Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in the friction, in the fall, in the bounce back. Every mistake is a page in your manual. Every misstep, a breadcrumb leading to deeper understanding. The trick isn't to avoid failure. It's to fail forward, intentionally, with your eyes open and your ego in check. The Stoics didn't just accept failure, they welcomed it. Seneca believed that adversity was fuel for the soul. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. So when things fall apart, don't retreat. Reflect. Ask the harder question, not why me, but what is this here to teach me? That small shift flips the narrative. Suddenly, you're not a victim of circumstance, you're a student of life. Failure builds things success never could: resilience, humility, perspective. You start to see that failing doesn't make you less. It makes you more aware, more capable, more refined. And once you realize that, failure stops being something you fear. It becomes something you respect, because each fall, each fumble is shaping you into someone stronger than you were yesterday. So next time things don't go your way, don't run, don't hide. Sit with it, take the lesson, adjust, and move. Because failure isn't the opposite of progress, it's the path. Success isn't luck, it's discipline and habits. Let's cut through the noise. Most people don't fail because they're unlucky. They fail because they keep waiting for luck to show up. Success, the real kind, isn't flashy. It's not about viral moments or some secret formula. It's built in silence, in repetition, in showing up when there's no applause. Marcus Aurelius said, "Just that you do the right thing, the rest doesn't matter." And that's exactly what discipline is. Doing the right thing again and again, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one's watching. We live in a culture obsessed with quick wins, but real progress doesn't care about speed. It cares about consistency. Small actions, repeated over time, compound. That 10-minute workout, that book you read a chapter from each night, that moment you choose discipline over distraction. Those choices add up, and eventually they become identity. Carl Jung put it powerfully. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Your actions, not your intentions, build your future. It's not about grinding every second of every day. It's about honoring the quiet commitments. Waking up early when you'd rather sleep in. Finishing what you started when motivation is gone. Choosing water instead of scrolling. That's where the edge is. That's where transformation starts. Seneca said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. You don't need to wait for your shot. You need to be ready when it shows up. And that readiness? It's built in daily routines, in habits that seem small but carry enormous weight. Most people will never get this. They'll keep searching for hacks, for shortcuts, but you know better, because success doesn't visit the lucky. It stays with the disciplined. So start with one habit, just one. Make it non-negotiable. Nail it, then build on it, brick by brick. That's how you create a life that doesn't depend on luck. It depends on you. Committing fully. Burn the boats. You ever notice how easy it is to kinda want something? To dip one foot in while keeping the other on the shore, just in case. It feels safe, sensible even. But that's not how transformation happens. That's how people stay stuck. Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." And half commitment is just that, avoiding the deeper, scarier truth of what it really takes to change. Most people don't fail because they weren't capable. They fail because they never actually decided. They flirted with change, entertained success like a guest, but never married the process, never locked in, never burned the boats. The Stoics had no patience for this kind of hesitation. Epictetus said, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" That question hits hard, and it should, because if you're not all in, you're already halfway out. Here's the thing. Commitment is not glamorous. It's not Instagrammable. It doesn't come with a dopamine rush. It's early mornings when no one's watching. It's staying in the game when your motivation is gone. It's telling yourself, "I'm doing this, no matter what shows up to stop me." That's real commitment. That's power. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." That's the kind of inner dialogue that keeps you moving when quitting starts to sound comfortable. And let's not pretend it's easy. Life will test you. It'll hand you every excuse to back out. Fatigue, failure, doubt, fear. But every time you push through, you harden your resolve. You prove to yourself that this isn't a phase. This is who you are now. No more backup plans. No more just-in-case scenarios. You burn the boats, so there's only one way forward. So, if you're serious, make the decision. The real one. Not the kind you whisper when no one's around. The kind you live. Every day. Through discomfort. Through setbacks. Through silence. That's what commitment looks like. And once you go all in, everything changes. Not because life suddenly gets easier, but because you stop retreating. And that shift, that's where everything begins. Your moment. Take charge right now. There comes a point when reflection has to turn into movement, when planning, prepping, and overthinking become nothing more than dressed-up procrastination. Maybe this is that point for you. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. As Marcus Aurelius put it, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. That kind of urgency, it cuts through the noise. Because the truth is, you don't need more time, you need more truth. And the truth is, you're ready. You've always been. Forget waiting for motivation. Forget waiting for clarity. Those things show up after you move, not before. Carl Jung once wrote, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." Powerful, right? Because that means today isn't just another square on the calendar. It's a vote for who you're becoming, and every action you take is a brick in the foundation of that identity. So, what's it going to be? What are you choosing to finally commit to? Say it out loud, write it down, drop it in the comments, claim it. This is no longer a casual wish, it's a promise to yourself, a turning point. And the second you externalize that decision, something shifts. You're no longer hiding behind doubt, you're stepping into the arena. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Let today be the day you stop wasting. Let today be the day you draw the line and say, enough. No more stalling, no more seeking permission. Just bold, relentless action toward the life you keep imagining. This isn't about hype. It's about ownership. If you're ready, really ready, then take the reins and move. Quietly, deliberately, unshakably. This is your moment. Don't blink. Thanks for being a part of Stoic Journal. If you're ready to keep going deeper, tap one of the videos on your screen. I'll see you there.